Hello and welcome to KPMG's Retail Insights, where we explore the challenges, opportunities and future of Irish retail with those leading the way across the sector. My name is Davey. I'm a director in KPMG, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Jean McCabe, founder and owner of Willow Stores in Ennis, County Clare. Jean, you're very welcome to the studio today. We're really looking forward to hearing your insights on the retail landscape, past, present and of course future.
Thanks, Claire.
So firstly, Jean, where did your passion for retail come from?
Kind of accidental. So my original path was down the engineering route. Done manufacturing engineering in college and ended up dropping out of my final year to pursue, I suppose, that entrepreneurial spirit in me. And I saw an opportunity to open up a clothing store in Ennis, 2006, 21 years of age, absolutely clueless and made every rookie mistake that you could make. And I guess the recession taught me a good lesson on perseverance and resilience. And it was kind of during that period that we started to flourish, that our business really started to take off, and that I really fell in love with retail because it forced you to really analyse everything from the experience to how your customers were interacting, all the touch points within the business, pursuing the online space. So it was from there on in, probably 2011 in, that we really started to grow, and we were a really good, strong, solid customer base. We're, if my maths are correct, about 18 years in business at this stage, and I'm very lucky to have a really strong team around me as well that continue to manage the store for me and do an amazing job.
Jean, our KPMG Next Gen survey results, which I guess aims to show us a little bit more and tell us a little more about the how, where and why of Irish shoppers, is consistently telling us that price is probably the most important factor to the Irish consumer. As a retailer yourself and in your role as CEO of Retail Excellence Ireland, can you tell us how this is playing out across the sector and how are retailers dealing with the challenges?
Yeah, well, certainly price is a major factor at the moment. So if we just even look at the grocery market, you've got some really strong players in the discount space, which the likes of Aldi and Lidl are operating in. And then you're seeing the likes of Dunnes Stores who are actually going a lot more into this experiential route and looking for that USP. So you're seeing retailers either deciding they're kind of going to be in that discount space, or are they going to go for higher adding value. So I think that's more of the mission for a lot of retailers, is where I can add value to my consumer and to my customer, and not so much driven solely around price. And if we look at the retail trends versus online and in store, the experience piece is really essential. So I think a lot of retailers are going down the route of adding value to the consumer, and not so much as a price driven concept.
So really about building that value proposition.
Exactly.
Is important. And Jean, sticking with our survey results, when it comes to sustainability, the results are showing us that even the most sincere brands and diligent brands still have work to do to convince customers that they're walking the walk, I guess, when it comes to sustainability. As a retailer yourself, how do you think retailers can bridge that gap?
I think one of the hardest challenges of any retailer is actually being able to communicate and land a message with a consumer. So we all know how often you have to repeat something before it starts to resonate or sink in. So I think the challenge is around educating the consumer on what the business is doing within, and making sure that those messages are landing. There's no doubt a lot of greenwashing going on within every industry really, and we're all trying to come to grips with sustainable practices within our business. Some of us are very constrained by our supply chains, and I know myself in fashion, we're always looking for products with a good sustainability story and a good track record, and part of B Corp and so forth. But the challenge for us certainly is trying to find more of those suppliers, and then, as you mentioned, the price consciousness of the consumer. Sustainable products are more expensive in general, not completely, but there is a price disparity between them, and it tends to be a little bit more expensive because the practices are a little bit more expensive. So for the consumer, I don't think sustainability and the price point has matched yet for where it needs to be. But I think that the hardest part is educating and landing that message with consumers so that they understand the efforts companies are going to.
And Jean, is there more that the government, should be doing to drive the footfall back into town centres?
Yeah, I think there's certainly at the moment a lot of factors at play that and challenges that our town centres are facing. Certainly, look at some of our cities and small regional towns are dealing with a lot of antisocial behaviour. Yes. So that is certainly a big factor in affecting the operation of town centres. So that's certainly one thing that needs to be tackled, and I know the answer isn't there is no quick solution to that. Everything from Garda resources to we won't get into all of it, but I think from my own perspective, what I could see in my own business, online and omni-channel, that click and collect function is a huge part of driving footfall back into our doors, and I think it's an opportunity for business to add some value when people are using click and collect, and to encourage that extra sales. So I know for us, 40% of our customers that come in to pick up an order end up buying more in store and get to enjoy the experience. We would be part, Retail Excellence would be part of the Town First initiative with government, which is looking at town centre revival and renewal and what that would look like now and into the future, and what could be put in place to help support that. But another factor that's really important is the retail mix within a town centre, and also the planning structure of that area. So I think we all know of some town that got destroyed because an anchor went outside it, and that donut effect has been created, where the town centre retail offering was too weak and the outside retail offering was strong, and they've all moved out. So it's ensuring that there is an even weight between the two, that your town centre retail mix is strong enough. And that has to be a focus, I think, on all future plans, is ensuring that, because every retail in every town centre and city across the country is not just a retailer, it's not just a commercial transaction, it's actually very much so part of the community, and especially when you look at SMEs and family businesses across the country. So I think it's really important that we make sure we mind that and support that, and there's certainly more things that government can do.
So Jean, let's talk about innovation. There's a lot of discussion lately about experiential shopping, where stores are essentially becoming more like showrooms and pop-up events, and we're hearing a lot of things about augmented reality and generative AI. From your experience, and what ways are new technologies and innovation affecting the retail sector, and from both a physical and a digital perspective?
It's actually a really exciting space at the moment. So if we just take AI as an example, in the space of online, AI is used to analyse consumer shopping habits, including your own, and is able to suggest recommendations. So you're seeing average transaction value and basket size go up for consumers. It's becoming very personalised in what it's offering you. It nearly knows you better than you know yourself. When you're thinking about something, next minute that ad just starts appearing, because it's analysed your behaviours before that, and it knows this is the next thing you're thinking about. So it's a very exciting space in that sense. The use of technology, we're seeing a lot of bespoke personalisation and design within products. So furniture categories using kind of live live product building, so they can do all the tweaks and changes and what you want, and you do visually in front of you in an instant in the store. You're probably going to see a lot of AI used in transaction processing and at till counters, and kind of almost like the self-checkout facilities, where recommendations are being used, and those recommendations are compiled via the data they've collected on you and your shopping habits. So artificial intelligence is assuming these are products that you're going to like based on your behaviour, and based on other people's behaviour. So there's some really interesting technologies out there that help increase conversion, that help increase basket size, and overall provide a much more personalised experience for the consumer online. Then in store, AI has been used for fraud detection, facial recognition, and areas like that, especially when we're seeing such an increase in Ireland in shoplifting, which has been staggering over the last number of years, and the stats this year they're kind of unbelievable. But so we're seeing a lot of retailers, looking at the space of AI that will actually analyse someone's behaviour in store and can flag their movements and behaviours as being suspicious. So then security guards can keep an eye. So there's a lot happening in the space, and also AI is really effective in the supply chain, in managing stock, the amount of stock you should need, and be able to predict the future, what is going to be incoming based on trends, so you can manage that supply chain much better and much more efficiently. And certainly even in my own business, AI has been fantastic in areas to, I suppose, make us way more productive, whether it is using it for product descriptions online and making sure we get the right tag words in, writing a reference, all the small things that on a day-to-day basis that you do in general. AI is certainly making us way more efficient. There's a lot coming in the space. I know the
hugely exciting area.
It is, and I know it can be quite controversial of what the future could look like with AI. But I think currently, it's a great tool to be able to provide a much better user experience and also help with operational efficiencies within the retail industry.
Jean, it's been a hugely challenging few years for retailers. We've had Brexit followed by a pandemic, supply chain issues, and now the growing emphasis on sustainability and of course high interest rates and inflation. What do you think the government should be focused on in terms of supporting the sector through continued disruption? Is there more that could be done, be it in terms of tax reliefs, tax measures, or other incentives to really help and support and better equip the retail sector during uncertain times?
Well, one of the things that Retail Excellence has been asking government for is to help reduce the cost of doing business. So, we're going to see a large increase in cost of wages and the knock-on effect of that increase in the minimum wage. We're seeing the pension contribution, we're seeing increased sick pay leave. So there's a lot of front-loading of costs at the moment, and there is no doubt that it will affect some businesses in a way that they just can't sustain those costs going forward. So I really think there has to be some packages and support put in place to reduce the cost of doing business, whether it's through tax incentives or grants or a reduction in other measures. I don't think we'll see that again, but something has to be put in place to support and help take the pressure off the bottom line in a lot of businesses. Especially you look at SMEs and they don't have the margin or the economy of scale to sustain those type of cost increase. So I think certainly something has to be done to alleviate the pressures and reduce the cost of doing business in Ireland.
I think you're right, Jean, and certainly the Irish tax system can play a fundamental role, in supporting entrepreneurs and really helping them achieve their business objectives. So there's a lot of measures and incentives and reliefs that can be looked at and would certainly be very welcome for the retail sector.
Absolutely, Claire. I think the retail sector would certainly benefit from some tax measures and reliefs to help alleviate the cost of doing business in Ireland.
The role of female entrepreneurs is such an essential part of Irish business, and I know you took part in the Going for Growth initiative, and for the benefit of our listeners, this is a programme designed to really support and mentor female entrepreneurs, which we at KPMG are really proud to support and sponsor. But statistics are telling us that female representative is low at C-suite level. What changes do you think could be brought about so that more contributions can be made by females at that board level?
Well, firstly, going back to the Going for Growth programme, an amazing programme. It's a collection of really supportive, inspirational and very entrepreneurial women, and I have to say it's a fantastic programme for anyone going through it, and I actually was part of the programme twice, so it's certainly worthwhile. I think female contribution in the workplace is essential. It's shown companies operate better, have a better outcome when there are more female leadership in the C-suite and at board level. There's probably a lot of societal factors at play of why there are barriers there for females to move up the career ladder and the career path. And actually I read a really interesting report on Norway, and they seem to be the leaders in setting the stage for diversity in leadership, and their quota mandate of 40% of boards have to be made up of females. That came in 2006, and that's had a huge impact on representation of women at board level. On top of that, I think the challenges of every female is managing the household and the career path, and I saw a really interesting article on how women in leadership positions in C-suite in Ireland only take 20% of the average maternity leave versus the normal. So they're only taking 9.6 weeks maternity leave across their whole career versus the average, which is 52 weeks. And I think that speaks volumes for the impact of maternity leave on female careers. So I think from a legislative and government point of view, if they're trying to make it an even playing field and to give women the opportunity to have the choice to pursue their career, I think the likes of maternity leave and paternity leave should be more equally distributed. So allowing the female to say, okay, I'm going to take 3 months maternity leave, my husband's going to take the other 3, that the option is there for them.
For you, I guess, as a busy mum of 3, CEO of Retail Excellence Ireland, and a successful entrepreneur, what would you attribute your success, I guess, in all that you've achieved to date?
Certainly a very good husband, that helps. I guess I suppose I just never saw it as something that would slow me down. Very good family support around us, which is always great. I often have my kids at work with me. I have them doing a few jobs around the place. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and walk fast, move fast, do things with the mission in mind. I'm a big believer that you can never be too young to kind of instill that work ethic. I think it's hugely important. So I guess it's all those little factors together. Believe me, there's days when I don't have it together, and that it's hectic and crazy like everyone's life is. But I don't see it as work a lot of the time. I enjoy my work, and I enjoy family time, and the lines are very blurred between the two, and that works for us.
Jean, I think we'll wrap it at that. You've certainly given so many businesses across the country a lot to think about. So thank you so much for your contributions and valuable contributions here today. It's been lovely talking to you, and thank you again for your time.
No problem, thank you.
Retailers play a vital role in Ireland's economy, and as you'll have heard from our discussion today, businesses are under increasing pressure to evolve and adapt. But despite the challenging macro environment, there are opportunities for retailers to continue to stay resilient and find new innovative ways to be competitive. Thank you for watching.